New Orleans Saints versus Buffalo Bills preview and prediction, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. We're on to Buffalo. All right. We're on to Buffalo. Last I checked, Saints plus 15.5. Depends on where you looked. I know MGM opened it. They were the highest I saw on the market. They were plus 17.5, which quickly got scooped up. Money came in on the Saints. So now across the board, basically, it's painted 15.5. Huge line. Like, you don't see these kind of lines a lot, all right? Now, it is the NFL, okay? Here's the deal. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how the Saints are going to win this game. I'm not going to sit here and tell you the Saints are going to win this game or whatever else. Question is, how can the Saints have success? Like, what does success look like? What are we going to be hoping for? What do you need to watch during this game? All right? I'll give you a hint. It ain't the scoreboard. There's a lot of other stuff we can watch here, and we're going to talk about it with the Pro Football Focus boys. Let's go ahead and get into it.
These Saints are traveling to the Buffalo Bills. Maybe the hottest team in the NFL, maybe the most feared team in the NFL. One that I think some people would have said the Packers before last week, but now that they lost to the Browns, I think the Bills probably take that crown here.
I don't think so. I don't think the Bills are the highest power rated team. The Bills are a really unique team because it is Josh Allen. Like with Baltimore, it's like, okay, Derrick Henry, whatever. With the Bills, it is Josh Allen. That's it. No one else scares you. Keon Coleman doesn't scare you. Dalton Kincaid doesn't scare you. The defense doesn't scare you. The run defense is actually really bad. So they certainly don't scare you. Really weird team because they're so consistently successful. But when you have the MVP, who is like perfectly built for this current version of the NFL, and you need Josh Allen. You need Jalen Hurts. You need Jaden Daniels, or even Patrick Mahomes at times. You need players like that to exist in this current NFL. The ones that can run, the ones that can stand up, be strong in the pocket, be strong on short downs, pick up the 4th and 1, pick up the 3rd and 2, but also can beat you through the air. And Josh Allen is just the perfect player right now in the NFL. And it shows you just how good he is, that he can lift Buffalo up. Like a player like Jared Goff. I love Jared Goff. But in today's NFL, Jared Goff is so limited. Even like Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, there's a big difference between Joe Burrow and Josh Allen in today's NFL.
What do you want to talk about here? You want to talk about the Bills side of things or the Saints side of things?
I think the Bills offensively, obviously what makes them one of the most feared teams in the NFL is just Josh Allen's existence, right? When you have number 17, you have a chance to win any game. But I think the other thing is really, it's Joe Brady and the number of different personnel groupings he can get in. And one thing I want to just focus on, put the spotlight on for the Bills is this group of tight ends is just ridiculously good. And the number of ways that Joe Brady uses them, just fantastic stuff, because they're 3 different guys with 3 different skill sets, right? You're talking about Dawson Knox as the big veteran blocker who can occasionally give you something in the passing game. Dalton Kincaid, who's more of a flexible receiver who you can move around the formation. And then Jackson Hawes, I mean, honestly, he's almost like Dawson Knox Jr., if I'm being honest. He's kind of the same style of player, but...
So real quickly, let's talk about what the Saints are going to try and do defensively. So obviously, the Saints' big problem so far has been pass defense. They've been really good against the run. The issue that they're going to run into with the Bills is that we know the Saints are going to play this like pseudo soft-ish zone, whatever else, keep everything in front of you. Okay, fine. All right, that's okay. With Josh Allen, though, what's going to happen is you're going to ask these defensive backs to cover the receivers for a long time because the Saints don't get pressure on the quarterback, and Josh Allen is good enough to where he's going to sit in the pocket, and then he'll extend the play. I'm assuming the Saints will have, I don't know if it'll be like a tried and true spy or a quarterback contain on or whatever, but they're going to be focused on keeping Josh Allen in front of them as well, right? They don't want to be so focused on the receivers that Josh Allen can scramble, pick up 10 yards or whatever, because we know he will. So if they're doing all of that, they're probably going to get little to no pressure, which means can these defensive backs exist long enough? Because the longer that defensive backs are asked to cover, the more coverage breaks down. So that's going to be the problem, I think, with the defense versus the offense. The Saints have been really good at stopping the run. Running backs have been really good at stopping. And they played some really good running backs. You're talking about Kenneth Walker, Christian McCaffrey, and James Conner. He was Obviously, he's hurt now, but James Conner. So those are 3 stud running backs. All right, so we know they can stop the run. But can they stop the run / contain what the Bills' offense is going to want to do for a long enough period of time while not getting any pressure? And Chase Young's out this game again. What was supposed to be a not long-term injury has now officially turned into a long-term injury. He could have went on the IR. He's missed 4 games. So they're going to have to figure out a way. I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm a defensive coordinator, but this might be the time where it's like, you know what, we might have to blitz. Like, we might have to turn this thing around and say, you know what, just blitz, speed up Josh Allen, speed this whole thing up. If Josh Allen beats you, Josh Allen beats you. But we can't sit back passively and just let the Bills do whatever they want because we're so focused on containing Josh Allen.
When you have both those guys on the field, it's like having extra offensive linemen. Bills tight ends right now as a group are 2nd in the NFL in PFF grade, they're 10th in receiving grade, and they're 2nd in run blocking grade. It's a big part of the reason the Bills as a team lead the NFL in run blocking grade. These tight ends, along with their offensive line, they are the highest graded team on offense in the league when multiple tight ends are on the field. And you just look at all the...
Yeah, what's the most popular personnel group in the NFL right now? 12 personnel was 12 personnel, right? 2 tight ends on the field, 1 running back, 2 wide receivers. So that's just what the NFL is now. That's what I'm saying earlier, where the NFL is morphed into like this perfect incubator for Josh Allen and for what the Bills want to do. Is it sexy? Is it fun? Are the playmakers and all that stuff, is that like pop off the page? No, it's not. It is this like Dawson Knox, Dalton Kincaid, Josh Allen kind of mush festival. And Josh Allen has an arm that's live enough to where when things break down and he's looking up and the defensive backs have had to try and hold coverage for 6 seconds, he's got an arm to where he can make any throw in the field.
Different packages that Joe Brady can go with. He can put Dalton Kincaid out in the slot and then either Hawes or Knox in line, and you can still have that run-pass kind of balance despite having 2 tight ends on the field. He can have Knox and Hawes out there both in big run formations in true 12 personnel, and you've got like 7 offensive linemen. There was sets last week where they were putting Hawes and Knox out there with an extra offensive lineman, Alec Anderson out there, and you've basically got 8 guys who could just maul people up front. The Bills' offensive line is really good, but what these tight ends are adding to both the run game and the pass game just makes them so dynamic no matter what personnel grouping they're in. So I think week in and week out, I think we need to start watching their usage and just the different ways that they use all 3 of these tight ends because Joe Brady's doing a hell of a job with it.
Yeah, I mean, they're staying very traditional in sort of what their approach is, right? I mean, like, if you can't stop the run, if you can't stop us in our jumbo packages, like whatever you want to call these bigger packages where you've got the extra offensive lineman or you're playing like 13 personnel or something like that, if you can't stop our power run game, we're going to keep doing it. It's just as simple as that. Like, and then obviously when they spread it out, they've got an alien at quarterback that they feel good about. But if you can't stop the run with this team, they're just going to continue to go after you. The only chance that the Saints have in this game is if they keep the Bills off.
Here's the deal. Here's how the Saints, here's how they are relevant, have success, whatever. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say how they win the game. The Bills' run defense is bad. DVOA 29th. Okay? Bad. The Saints have to be able to run the football. They have to run the football. It starts with Alvin Kamara. Run the football. Slow this thing down. The Saints right now are basically an NBA team. They are the fastest team in the NFL, and it ain't even close. They're honestly almost off of the chart of how fast they're running these plays. They got to slow the game down, run the football. The best defense for Josh Allen is when he's sitting on the sidelines without his helmet on. The only way you can do that is by running the football, dictating the pace, slowing it down, having long drives, extended drives, chew up that clock. If Spencer Rattler's throwing the ball for 55 times again, bad news bears, okay? Because we're not killing the clock, we can't run the football, and Josh Allen, we're in a shootout. You don't want to be in a shootout with Josh Allen, okay? That is it. Oh, and on the other side of things, you have to contain the Bills. You can't allow them to get these big explosive plays off. You can't shoot yourself in the foot with special team issues or penalties or whatever. The Bills are too good anyways. So the Saints have to clean up all of that. They have to clean up their operations. They have to clean up the penalties, clean up the special teams, take what they can get, right? If they can get a field goal, you got to make it. You got to take it, okay? So that's how they have success. Muck this thing up. Do I think the Saints are going to win this game? No. but I think they can muck it up enough to where you're in a, 28 to 17 type game, somewhere in that neighborhood where, the Bills get theirs, they slow it down. The game is kind of at a slog. The Saints do have some success because of running the football. They play a relatively perfect game, and that's about it. I think that is best case scenario. Best case scenario is the 10% of the time the Saints win, but can't count on that. So that is the only way the Saints have success.
Offense on the sideline, right? And the only way that they're able to do that is if they continue to lean in on the run game. Now, this might be a surprise to some people out there, but the Saints actually aren't too bad at rushing the football this season. 73.0 team rush grade, which is 13th in the NFL.
Now, here's something else, though. They have played 3 of the best run defenses in the NFL. So they're actually better than this shows. Because if they're doing this against the 3rd best run defense DVOA, 7th best run defense DVOA, and 9th best run defense DVOA, if they're doing this against 3, 7, and 9, you would assume against 29, they're going to be even better. All right, so they've been okay. And this is against like the best of the best in the NFL, while also losing in all these games.
They have 18 missed tackles forced, which is 8th, top 10 mark. 3.9 yards per carry average, okay, that's 20th, and then 21st in EPA per rush, and that's 21st. So it's not it's not the best rushing attack in the league, but they're capable of having good days. And if they're able to control the clock more than people expect, well, that's really the only chance that they have in this, because let's face it, this is the biggest game spread of the season so far. The Bills are a 15.5 point favorite in this game. And at one point I saw that it was 16 as well, which is just an insane amount of points to be giving another team. I understand.
Yeah, still the NFL. And, 15 is kind of a fugazi number. But like 17 points, here's another little pro tip. When you're betting on a team, you usually want your motivations to be the same as their motivations, right? If you're betting on a team to score by margin, you need them to have motivation to win by margin. The Bills don't have any motivation to win by 17. They don't care. They don't care if they win by 14. They don't care if they win by 10. They don't care if they win by, they're not trying to run it up. The Bills actually do the opposite. We see a lot of this, especially, I bet on, basically every game, but I can't tell you how many times I bet on the Bills and Josh Allen doesn't play in the fourth quarter because they're winning in a blowout or the game's out of hand. It doesn't have to be a blowout. The game's out of hand, or they're losing and the game's out of hand. And they will take him out. And all of a sudden, it's the Mitchell Trubisky show over the years, or whoever at the time. The Bills want to preserve Josh Allen. They know this is a Super Bowl window. So they're not going to go out there and say, all right, Josh, we need you to run the football 10 times and make sure we win by 24. There's no interest in that. Can they? Can they blow teams out? Absolutely. But the motivation for the Bills to win this game by margin isn't there. That's not to say they won't, but just in general, you want your team's motivation to be the same as yours. For example, it didn't work out like this, but the Cardinals last night. Like, if you have the Cardinals, you want them, because they constantly are trying to score. They're down, right? Like they're constantly trying to get close. They're constantly doing what they can to try and win the game. And if they would have done it the right way and gone for 2 instead of kicking extra points, then you would have got there. They probably would have lost by 1 or 1 by 1 or however it played out. But the Bills or any team minus 17 and a half, that's wild.
Understand that it's in Buffalo, but that 15.5 number is more insulting than how I think the Saints have been playing this season. Another problem for them, though, is the O-line and the inconsistencies there. No offensive lineman has a season-long overall blocking grade above 70. Eric McCoy is the closest one with a 69.3, but nobody else is really close to that mark outside of him. And so the Saints' offensive line just has to play better. They haven't played super well early on this season through 3 games, but I don't think that they have a chance. Really, the Saints are just trying to cover this game, right? And I think
but it's and this is just like a sidebar thing, but like Miami didn't have a chance. They were 12.5 point dogs on Thursday night against the Bills. Miami's defense is worse than the Saints. Like Miami is they're them and the Saints are in the same ballpark, right? And you could say the same thing. No way Miami goes up there and wins this. Like, no way this all works out, right? And then Miami has a chance to win the game. And they end up losing, whatever. They cover. But it is what it is. It is the NFL. And you're kind of caught during a preview because you don't want to say, well, we already know what's going to happen. Chalk it up. Bills by 21. Could happen. Similarly, with the Dolphins, where it's like, damn, the Dolphins can win this game. If Tua doesn't throw a pick, they have a chance to win this game. Or the Dolphins, 9 out of 10 times the Bills win that game. But there is a one, right? And the only way for a team like the Saints or the Dolphins or whoever to be successful and be competent and be relevant in these games is you got to take it possession by possession, quarter by quarter. The Saints have to win the first possession, win the second possession. They have to win or match the first quarter, win or match the second quarter. Against teams like this, you can't go down 10-0, 14-0, 17-0, 21-3. Miami and Buffalo, what was it, 10-10 at halftime? Something like that? Exact same thing. Okay, Miami won and or matched first quarter, won and or matched second quarter, won and or matched first possession, second possession, third possession. And then the longer the game got on, the more Buffalo pulled away, and then Buffalo gets the win. But still, that's what the Saints have to do here. The Saints can't turn the ball over. You would love to benefit from some turnovers yourself. You would love to benefit from, a freak muff punt or a fumble or a pick or a strip sack or whatever ends up happening. But in general, the Saints got to take this one play, one possession, one quarter at a time and try and keep everything contained, everything perfect. No bad penalties, no extended drives, certainly no turnovers, no missed opportunities like, field goals or things like that. So it is absolutely a daunting task. It is absolutely David versus Goliath. I mean, it'd be foolish to say otherwise, but it is the NFL. And as a Saints fan, more than the score, you want to see this team look like they belong. And you want to see a team closer to what we saw in the first week and the second week, where it's like, all right, muck it up, make it ugly, close game, chance to win at the end, whatever. You don't want to see the team that we saw in Seattle, where it's like, man, this team did not show up today.
The only chance that they cover it is if they can control the football. And obviously, if you get a couple of turnovers, you never know what happens. But there's a reason why they are more than 2 touchdown favorites. And for as much as I think it's disrespectful to how well the Saints have played at times through 3 weeks, I do get it. I got Bills 31. I got Saints 14. So I have the Bills even covering that number.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 games a year where Buffalo, especially at home, they just take care of business. I mean, they really have no business keeping the Saints in this game. I've got the Bills 35-13. I just think offensively, too many answers to too many problems. The Saints defense has not played horribly, at least in their first 2 games. They didn't play horribly. Brandon Staley has got them keeping things in front of them with more zone coverage. Demario Davis has been fantastic at linebacker. He'll be a big factor against this run game, but I just don't think the Saints really have enough. When you look at what they have on offense, quarterback, offensive line, and then their defense, it just kind of fell apart last week. I like the Bills a lot in this game.
I'll say 31-17 Bills in this one. Saints cover, though. 31-17 Saints cover. 31 seems like a lot. Because if the Saints are, relatively successful, they have to hold the ball, whatever. I already talked about that. But I'll say 31-17. 31-17, under hits, Saints cover. Well, 37.5, it would not hit, but I saw 48.5, so it depends on where you shop around. But that's my final answer. 31-17, Bills, Saints cover. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.